Is this light that you've probably never heard of a worthy competitor to the Amaran 200X? It may well be. So here we are, another light, another story to tell. This time, a story about the great and the not so great about the Suit Photo 230 Bi. But first, let's go back to the testing phase. The light is bicolor with color temperatures from 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. So I'll show you some variations. Our first scene, interior day. Here's the light with a big softbox in your typical interview setup. Our next scene, interior night. Here's the light as a moony source with a little haze to add volume. Next we have interior day. Here's the light being used as a hard sunlight source, and of course, a little haze. And finally, interior night. Here's the 230 Bi with a projector mount. Now listen, a light is a light, unless you're cracking open the hood and really unpacking CRI ratings, dimming curves, etc. I won't be. Now, I often have trouble trusting what websites say about the lux of a light. Sometimes it's subjective depending on where they're placing the light, so I did it myself. Now, it's difficult to make a fair comparison with any other lights because results vary drastically depending on what kind of reflector or hyperreflector you are using. Now, this light has effects, but I don't think anyone uses effects beyond a fireplace flicker. And at the end of the day, this light has all the same app features as the previous Suit Photo 100 watt light that I reviewed, so you should watch that video next. After a few demos, it was time to relay my honest thoughts on the light. In truth, I think it's good that I gave this light a couple of months of use before putting out a review. It may have just been that I was tired of reviewing lights at the time when I received it, but when I first opened the box, I was very underwhelmed. The light had no battery options, no bag, no reflector dish, and the mount felt pretty plasticky, if I'm being honest, but that was just my first impression. Now, over the past few months, I'd been surprised by how often this light ends up being my #1 go-to light for the YouTube videos that I make. It's not so bright that you can light up a forest at night, but for lighting a single subject and using it as a false sunlight, it tends to be very convenient. It's quite bright, and the build itself is very lightweight with no extra ballast or cabling. I often find myself affixing a Fresnel mount and having this be my primary hard-on-the-body source. I also like that the controls are very simple. I can of course use an app, but when it comes to the body of the light itself, I'm not having to learn the controls in order to adjust basic white balance and luminance. 2 dials, 1 switch. Take note, light companies. And though I doubted the mount, I've been impressed that the light seems to handle heavy softboxes with no issues so far. Now, I don't often work with the Amaran line of lights much, but on a recent shoot that I gaffed, that was pretty much all we used, and I was struck by how nearly identical the 200X lights were to this 230 light from Suit Photo. So when asking where does this light fit in, I think that's the answer. It's a 200X alternative. The design is pretty much exactly the same and the function is the same, but it's actually brighter. Okay, so what about build quality? Well, it is plastic, but hard plastic. Suit Photo did reach out and assure me that they replaced the mount with a metal interior, and from other videos and photos that I've seen, it seems that they also replaced the tightening mount to be a larger, very strong plastic. For mounts in general, I just don't like plastic. I get that it keeps products lightweight, but I never want to worry about a light breaking off a stand during a shoot. That being said, I've seen no indication that this mount isn't strong enough. I do wish this light came with a case, but on the other hand, the 200X doesn't come with a case either, so I can't fault Suit Photo for that. So what were my final findings on the light? Well, I think all in all, this is a versatile light with plenty of brightness and a small footprint. The question though becomes, why buy this over a name brand like Amaran? At $300, you will save yourself $50, but from there it all comes down to, what set are you putting together for your lights? If you already have an Amaran/Aputure ecosystem, then this light doesn't make a lot of sense. If you have a mix of lights and a few Suit Photos already, then I don't see any reason why not to get this one. The light does have some fan noise, but nothing crazy for this level of brightness. It's plug-in only, so no option for batteries. But overall, I think this is a solid studio light and a good bright one-man band light that can best be equated with the Amaran 200X, except brighter. And if you want to save $50, cheaper. I think this is a great alternative, but if you want that name brand and something that works with the Cytosap, I wouldn't fault you for sticking with Amaran. Now, I hope this review was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.